Get started. The garden work never ends, and today I want to go ahead and do some stuff in the garden, some repotting of plants and some replanting my agave, and I thought I'd bring you along, so here we go. Okay, so here I got started on the pots that were on top of my table, and this is a yearly thing. I usually pop stuff up in here that I know is going to grow and is going to need maintenance. And it's part of the fun when you have these awesome big pots that you can just create a new vignette of plants. And it's awesome again when you have these succulents because you can scavenge for cuttings and use them in other pots. You can plant them in the ground, and it's just an awesome experience. Um, as you see, I use these as cuttings. These are the Cotyledons, and I just love these. They're very versatile, great filler plants because they reproduce really nice and they're very hardy. Um, this plant is one of my faves, and I've done videos on my favorite plants that I have in my garden, and this one made the list. As you can see, I am taking out anything that's like roots and rocks that have fallen into the soil, and I really am going to reuse this soil. Again, it's not very old, and these plants aren't very picky with the soil. As long as you have good drainage, they do well really in any type of soil. You don't want anything that has a lot of peat moss or anything like that because it's going to retain too much moisture and you might get some rotting. Um, as for this planter, I won't be wetting it anytime soon because I will be putting some cuttings. So I'll wait a few days and then give it a little water. But for the most part, I think they should be fine. As long as you keep it out of hot, direct sun the first days at least, I think it'll be great. Here I have in this area a covered arbor. It has some of that filtered fabric, so I think it'll be okay. This is so fun. Again, I really don't have an idea of what it's going to look like until I start. This is how I work. This is how I roll. And I'm basically going to just scavenge all over my yard, reuse some of the plants that I have. And as you can see, I'm just cleaning them up, um, grouping them together, and seeing what I can reuse and just maintenance. I'm going to, this is a tormentosa. It doesn't look like chocolate soldier, I believe. And it looks like a tarantula kind of, but it's beautiful. And this one, I'm surprised that it made it for I don't know, I've had it like for a year already, and it hasn't grown much because I don't irrigate these pots a lot. I don't like wetting the table. So I just give them just enough water so they don't grow too much. And also you can retain your arrangement longer if you don't overwater it and you don't have plants just becoming exfoliated or just all of these plants have different um, growth habits, but for the most part, the watering habits is what matters. You want to make sure that you group plants that are um, drought tolerant and like this type of sunlight and all that stuff. So that's what matters when you group them together. And as you can see, I just made a little bouquet here with all my little cuttings. I'm going to use this as kind of like my centerpiece. And I already made kind of like a little well where I'm going to put them together. And I decided to put them here in the corner. And that's the beginning. Okay, so here I went to get my propeller plant. I think this one will look awesome as kind of like my thriller. It is a little bit taller, and it will add interest to this arrangement. I am putting it kind of in the center, and I think it's going to look great. Here I gathered some other little cuttings that I'm going to be putting in this corner. And that's what's so awesome about having a succulent garden, that you always have inventory that you can go and borrow and reuse in any type of arrangement or in the ground if you'd like to plant them. Okay, here I'm going to speed it up a little bit and just show you kind of the gist of this. I have several other videos where I do the refreshing and repotting of my pots here. But as you see, I'm just taking cuttings from the other pot that's next to it, which I'm going to be also reworking. And these are some little jades here that are beautiful. They have been kept small. These grow really big. It's like a bush basically, so you see the root that it has. And I use some as cuttings, or I just stick them in if they don't have too much root. I just work them in. Okay, now for the fun part, we get to add some big beautiful focal points. And here I have my beautiful Agavoides, which I had in my succulent hospital. These got a little bit too much water, and they were turning yellow from the bottom. As you can see, they still have some of those little yellow leaves there, but for the most part, I did clean them up. And we are going to allow them to live in this pot until they start growing too big, and then we'll stick them back in the ground. But for now, they're going to make this pot look gorgeous, and I will be putting one in the ground, but two of these we will be using for this pot. This is a coral aloe baby, and as you can see, it's got plenty of roots, so I just went ahead and cut the roots off, and we'll be inserting it in here like a cutting. Very important to have your little brush so that you could clean as you go here. I mean, no matter how careful you are, you will get dirt into the centers of these rosettes. Here is another little aloe, crocodile aloe, and I just cleaned up the roots a bit. And this is gorgeous, gorgeous. Again, just cleaning up those rosettes. And this is a great time also to inspect these plants. Just go ahead and check them for mealybug, and check them that they don't have any type of aphids or anything like that. I find that with the succulents, mealybug is the main pest that attacks these plants if they get too much water. Here I am putting more of those jades in. Remember that you need one plant as a filler, kind of to unify your arrangement, and this jade is awesome. I love these little plastic buckets that I bought at Target. They are so useful, and they were priced very well. I think they were like $5, and they're flexible, and they hold water, and they're just great. It's great to have containers like this to just when you're doing all this maintenance in your garden, you need something that's able to hold the dirt without seeping through. And also, it's nice to be able to just rinse them with the hose and they're ready to go. So here I am just filling it in with some rocks, the areas where I see dirt. And I will see dirt in these areas because in this pot, I won't cover it completely, especially where I know that plants like the jade are going to grow quickly and fill out that space. And I want to give it soil where it can expand and just reproduce. So, but look how gorgeous. Oh my gosh, I just love the way this one turned out. Those Agavoides are beautiful. The Propeller Plant, and it's just so awesome and fun how you can create different arrangements out of stuff in your garden. As for the other pot, I did go ahead and also scavenge my garden and just go ahead and put some other plants in it, and it's going to be gorgeous too. I went ahead and took the little face out, and I'll be using that in another part of the garden. And look at this beautiful, beautiful Sahara. These are doing so good. These are the new additions. But I wanted to show you what's been going on with my geraniums, and there is a worm attacking them. So I did go ahead and spray them with BT insecticide, and hopefully that helps. But look at these holes in my leaves. They have not attacked my hydrangeas, which I'm very happy about. And if you guys know, I love these, and I'm so happy that I'm able to grow them now in a huge pot, and they're doing great. All right, well, our next thing that we're going to be doing in the garden here is tackling my beautiful, beautiful agave perii, and it's just grew too big, and it's kind of dangerous where it is at the moment because I have little kitties that like visiting my garden, and they have very treacherous spines. Okay, so this is a beast.
Can you do me a favor?
Yeah. Wait, I'm in the middle of two little tarantulas.
Oh my god.
Woo, so that was fun. I could have used the big shovel, but I didn't have it handy, so I tackled it with my small spade, and it took a lot of effort, but we got it done. It will remain in this 5-gallon bucket. As you can see, it's huge until I plant it in the ground, which will be probably for a week, and it should be fine. Okay, so we are done with that. Now, I wanted to give you a look at what's going on here. This looks so gorgeous still. We'll be moving some of the aeoniums, the ones that are redder, um, to the other side, kind of towards the middle, because they get too much sun there and it's starting to get hot. So, oh, there's Vincent, my beautiful kitty. And the coral aloe is doing great. It's a little bit stressed. Aloes are doing wonderfully. As you can see, I do have to clean up some weed on my rock, and those bloom spikes, just glorious. And the sticks on fire is still yellow, which I'm very happy about, but it's gonna start getting green. As soon as it starts getting hotter, all these beautiful colors will start getting green. But it's part of this magical plant. And this is a gorgeous, gorgeous plant. Again, you have to have some caution because it is a euphorbia. And here we have some more euphorbias, my African Candelabra euphorbias. They have some leaves at the top, which seem to indicate that they like being in the ground. I started these out in pots. They were tiny. They must have been, I mean, some of these were probably 4 inches tall, and now they're super big. This is my forgotten area of the garden, my little cactus area. And as you can see, some of these are exfoliated and they're alive. They're doing okay. I don't really pay too much attention to these, and they're still flourishing, which is the great part of cacti. They don't get too much direct sun. These little cacti are not like the big desert cacti. These like a little more shade than intense sun, so keep that in mind. My wooden sun is doing great here under the porch, and here's a view of my Vindica, and it is growing. It has those beautiful little purple flowers, and I can't wait till it starts trellising up the trellises the arches that I purchased, and I think that's gonna look so magical, so beautiful, so can't wait to see that. We did buy this shade for the pergola, which is shields the hot rays of the sun, and hopefully it'll keep all these succulents happy, because again, they don't like intense sun. Morning dappled light is great, but anything over 80 degrees, yeah, is a bit too hot to have them just sitting in the hot sun. So if you want your succulents to flourish and look beautiful, they have to have the right temperature and the sun and the water. Especially like even the aeoniums that are so tough, they will remain closed and too red if they're in the intense sun. They won't reach their beautiful full potential. So keep that in mind. I will be moving, now that I say that, those aeoniums that are in the corner. They're very red, they're very stressed, and as it gets hotter, they're going to become even more stressed. So I'm going to be moving them to kind of where the rock is right there. I'm going to kind of sprinkle them in this bed. It looks kind of sparse at the moment. I've been cleaning it up, and I don't really have any type of filler plants because, again, I got rid of most of my blue chalk sticks because they got some type of a really bad aphid infestation, and not fun. Here you're looking at some beautiful, beautiful flowers, some zinnias. These are great deterring pests. And this is the little garden area that I have in the front of my garden. And these are just my self-watering raised beds. I made these stands for them, and I have a little herb area here, and I planted some poppies. And I wanted you to see the flowers. They're gorgeous. The tomatoes are thriving. They have tons of little tomatoes. These are cherry tomatoes. And the yellow ones, that's my favorite tomato to have. And I keep snacking on them when I come out and clean the plant. But I wanted you to see, I just made this trellis, and they're all the way to the top. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful aloes and jades and Euphorbias. And you can see the one blue chalk stick that survived there. And it wasn't infested, so I left it in there. But I really love the color they add, so who knows? Maybe I'll add some mini chalk sticks if I find a flat. I wanted you to see my hydrangeas. This is from another day. And as you can see, the buds are starting to open up, and they're going to be beautiful little flowers, or big flowers. Hydrangeas are huge flowers. Well, my red ruffled echeveria is still growing. It's got quite a gooseneck, but it is gorgeous. It has a bloom spike, and it's getting hot, so I don't know what I'm going to do. Here are the Kalinko Igluciers that I cut down from the mama. They were very elongated and ugly, so I went ahead and condensed them in the ground, kind of split them up. Here you're seeing the aeonium that is very red, and I moved it from the other side of the garden out of the intense sun and put it in this area, and you'll see that in a matter of days it'll start perking up and just reproducing. All these that are red here, I believe these are the Jack Caitlin, and they're beautiful, beautiful. They grow like a little, very like a intense bush, and it's just gorgeous. Here are the Kalinko Igluciers. Again, these were just on long, also gooseneck like arms, and I just went ahead and cut them. So these are cuttings. I'm being mindful of not to give them water and kind of keep them shielded. As you see here, I am taking a picture of the beautiful, beautiful fruit from the opuntia, and I wanted to show you the gorgeous flowers that they give off. And this year has been so great, so much fruit. And last thing I had on my list here is to clean my table. I use those magic erasers, those sponges, and it did a great job. So I wanted to share that with you guys. If you have garden furniture, these are great to use, and they did a great job cleaning this soapstone table. I just love this table. It is such a great table. I got this many, many years ago, and it still looks gorgeous. And even if it's a little bit weathered, it cleans up nice, and it just adds to the whole magic of my garden. And here you're seeing all the pots that were on the table. I went ahead and put them on the ground so that I could go ahead and wash the table. And I think I'm going to leave them here for a while until they kind of root, because the sun is getting very intense where the table is. So, all right, well, I'll leave you with these pictures. And again, I went ahead and reworked this area, prepping it for the heat. And I'm going to leave you with some wisdom here. If you do get lights for your garden, try to get the bronze ones, or the colors, maybe galvanize a color that is not so dirty. These black ones are horrible. Yeah, I cannot keep them clean, and I apologize for all the dirt on these. I will end up wiping them down, and they'll be the same tomorrow. but they are solar, so you have to keep them clean. But other than that, the garden is gorgeous. Love it. Favorite time of year. Thank you again so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you and welcome to all the new subscribers. I will talk to you guys later. Please take care of yourself and take care of others.